Hey guys, so today I just wanted to come hang out with you and also do some chats, pull some cards, oh, it's Wendy. Hey Wendy. But I also kind of wanted to see if there was a theme that my guides wanted me to speak about. And of course they have a theme. So I'm just going to talk, and if you guys have some questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise I can pull cards. Maybe Wendy will join us afterwards if we're still broadcasting. She is eating dinner, so enjoy your dinner, Wendy. So I've been a little quiet on this channel, but I have been doing a lot with Wendy from Languages of Lights. So if you want to check out what we've been doing, head over to her channel and you can see our live hangouts. We may actually do one tomorrow. I'm not sure. We haven't set that in stone yet. So definitely hook up with her if you guys haven't, and you can kind of keep up on like what I've all been doing, and all of she's at the restaurant. Nice. Nice. Yeah, so enjoy your dinner, Wendy. But you can kind of keep up with everything that Wendy and I have been doing, and all sorts of stuff. So I'm not going to go like into all kinds of back information. You'll just have to check out our hangouts, Wendy and my hangouts on her channel, and you guys can get that information from there. But today I wanted to talk about self-awareness, flow using your own directional compass, and then give you some activations for light language. And so when I sort of asked about like what they wanted me to talk about, these were the cards that I got. This one, it came upside down, so we're going to treat it as upside down, but it's number 50. And then this one here is from a brand new deck, brand new Mayan deck. So these talk about finding your rhythm, also your directional compass. So I'm just going to read, this one for you guys to get us started. And this is 50, so number 5. And number 5 is all about centering. And it says, through the star portal, glide and soar, foundations dance at Apple's core, hand of the man at spirit's door. It's all about your core purpose, your central intent, your foundation, your place of awareness, your place of centeredness, simplicity, acceptance of your humanness. And so we talk a lot, in my channel, we talk a lot about the idea of starseeds and what it means to be a galactic starseed and all that. But lately, we've really been focusing on how important it is that you are human, and how you need to really live in that human moment, because you're here for a reason. And so Wendy's typing, hang on. Today's date is 9/10/11. Oh, it is 9/10/11. I have to add that up. Hang on. 9, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13. I had no idea. I totally forgot. Thank you, Wendy. You're supposed to be eating at your restaurant. You're not supposed to be like chiming in. Just enjoy your time. Enjoy your date with your husband, and we can chat later. I love that you're like, I can just picture you like eating your food and like texting to me while you're out on your like dinner date. Hey Heather, how are you? So the compass is all about, as long as you orient your compass to true north, the direction of your higher power, you will never be lost. And because it's reversed, we're going to read the reversed description. It says, what is your higher power right now? Whatever you constantly focus on long enough becomes your higher power. And I think that's something really interesting to think about. What do you guys focus on? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself, what do you primarily focus on? Do you focus, is a glass half full? Is a glass half empty? And, you know, watching you live at a restaurant eating pizza, oh boy. This is a really good question. So those of you who, you know, follow like Heather and Wendy and I, we always talk about the glass half full. You know, you are what you eat, you are what you think, thoughts are things. So think about that. Where is your focus right now? that is what becomes your higher power. So if you worry about financial insecurity, materialism is your idol. If you obsess over a relationship, that is your God. If you're concerned about your weight or your looks or your status, you've lost your personal power and your way. Nothing but spirit can be your guiding force. You'll never truly find what you seek if these worries and distractions are your constant focus. You need to surrender and shift your compass, be still, and watch the needle point to true north. Align yourself, and you'll easily find your way back to where you're meant to be. And how true is that? Hang on, incoming text from the parents. So my grandma had a accident. It wasn't really an accident. It's kind of strange how it happened, but she actually fell and broke her hip, so she had to have hip surgery. So we're actually going to go up tomorrow for birthdays and visits with the grandparents and the parents and things like that too. So in any case, okay, so surrender and shift your compass. And then this next one I thought was really interesting because of the number 3, the rhythm. And it talks about, if you look at these, they're kind of luminous, they're lights. Just like you are all pillars of light. So this one talks about the luminous triangle made visible. Feel the pulse of the sacred current calling you home. The qualities are movement, change, flow, current, creativity, integration, the sacred trinity, comfort in change, non-struggle, floating downstream, non-resistance. And how many of you guys have had like really crazy activations and downloads recently? Like it's all over. People are talking in all the chat groups and all the Facebook groups about how exhausted they are and how things have been really hard lately and really rough lately. And everybody is getting updates, upgrades, and downloads. And it's a time for rest, but it all depends on how you handle it. If you complain about it, if you have the glass half empty, that is exactly, it's going to be worse for you. You know, I'm going to give you guys an example. I already gave this example. Heather, you're probably hearing this for the second time already. But Wendy and I were kind of just talking about this as well. So, for example, I have also, oh, thanks. She's actually doing really good. The doctors. So this is another thing that happened. I'm going to totally get off track here, but actually no, it's not off track because it's all about self-awareness. So I consider myself pretty self-aware. I'm a work in progress, but when this happened, you know, I called in my team, called in my guides, called in the Arcturian medical ships, and I asked for them to help my grandma. At least like give her some pain stuff and stuff like that. And you know, I saw her on a table and they were like removing this dark mass from her hip. And then a friend of mine who I asked to also, you know, send some love and blessings and healing, she actually got the same picture as I did. And so when the doctors came out from her hip replacement, they first of all, they said that, you know, you shouldn't, just from a simple fall, you shouldn't break anything. So that means that your body is deficient in something. If you have weak bones, your body's deficient. And my grandma doesn't eat a lot. Like she's the most awesome. She's like my best friend. She's the most awesome lady, but she just like, she just doesn't like human food very much. And so because of that, she doesn't get enough protein and she doesn't get enough calcium, and she doesn't eat enough. So her bones are kind of fragile. And they were talking about what she needs to get better. You know, she needs to eat more protein and she needs to make sure to get her daily intake so her bones can get stronger. But what they did say was that they were shocked at how clean of a break it was, how easy it was to put the hip replacement in there, and just how easy the surgery went considering how fragile her bones are. And they were pretty shocked about how well she did with the pain, because she had to stay 5 hours before they could actually do her surgery. And so they were saying all these amazing things. And I was just thinking, yeah, like my teams were stepping in, you know, my Galactic family was stepping in, and they were all helping her. And so that made me really happy. But that's one of those things where I believe it. And so it's true. Like I'm self-aware. That's what is in my bubble, you know? And so I choose to see the glass half full versus the glass half empty. And so I think with all these incoming downloads and such, a lot of people are having a rough time. And I just want to, you know, tell you guys that it'll get better. Like, rest. If your body wants you to rest, rest. In fact, I have another story for you guys. So this is just the way my life goes, and I'm perfectly open to sharing about it because this is how it is. And I think if I share about my experiences in navigating my compass north, it may help some of you guys, because I always say this, but normal is changing. And I'm not normal, and I don't pretend to be, because just like this compass said, like I'm happy being me, you know. I'm no one else can be me. I'm me, and I'm okay with that. And so that makes things a lot easier, because I'm not trying to, I mean, granted, there's still work. Like there's obviously I have different channels, you know, so I have a family who knows this side of me, and I have a family who knows a different historical side of me, and that's okay. But so I was feeling really ill, and the last like week or so, and I thought I actually had the flu. I thought I was going through what everybody else was going through, like ascension symptoms, blah blah blah, like I needed to rest. But I was thinking I probably had the flu. And then it finally dawned on me that my throat chakra was blocked, and that my angelic galactic language was opening up. And so I took a shower, and I just let it be. And I just exploded in this brand new galactic angelic language. And after I got it all out of my system, I felt a lot better. So you have to think of like illnesses in your body a lot of times as other possible things. You know, why are you feeling ill? Is your compass not pointing north? You know, and you know, how are you going to accept it? Are you going to like just stop and recenter yourself and think, okay, so what could this be? Am I really sick? Am I really ill? What's going on? If you're really in tune with yourself, you can feel when your chakras are blocked. You know, you can feel when things feel a little off and you need to change your energy vibration. When you're not really sure of who you are, and this goes back to the Holocene thing that I'm very passionate about. When you're not really sure who you are, it's harder to be yourself, because you know you are not what the TV ads are throwing at you, and you are not what society wants you to be. You know, you are you, right? And it's a lot harder sometimes if you're not comfortable in you. But what I can tell you from my own experiences is that it's not something that happens overnight. You know, it takes time, but once you start believing in yourself and trusting things that are going on that are around you, and then also getting those affirmations, because we all need those affirmations. This is something Wendy and I talk about a lot. You can view our stories on her channel. But even now, like I still need those affirmations. I just had a channeling session with Jim Charles, and one of my main questions was, you know, I have two energies here, and I'm trying to figure out, I'm pretty sure one is Ramses II, and one is Michael Jackson, and I'm trying to make sure like this is actually happening, and I'm not crazy, and like I have this automatic writing. And that little bit of affirmation that, you know, yes, this is actually happening, meant the world to me, because then I could be comfortable in self. And only when you are comfortable in self, you can point your true compass north. And I think, you know, I think this is where a lot of us are right now. We have so many things going on because, you know, for some of us who have day-to-day jobs, Okay, we have to go to work. We have to be in the human society that has been created for us. It's hard to stay in that frame of mind, and that it's hard to keep your compass pointed north, because you have to function in a human world. I'm trying to find this 50, but it is possible. It is possible, especially when you can start to balance the two. So this is, and I do this all the time, like Heather, I talk about this all the time, and Heather, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, where I can still, this is a really great example, again, personal experience. I was working, I was stamping like these little bags that we fill with like a sachet, historical sachet. And I was watching this program on Nefertari's tomb. Like for some of you guys who don't know, Nefertari was Ramses II's wife, right? Queen, wife, number one wife. And if you've seen a few of my past life things, like I talk about it, but that was one of my past experiences. And so I was just doing my work, and I was thinking about all the emails that I had to respond to, and I was stamping these little bags and getting them ready to fill. And all of a sudden, Ramses' voice comes in my head and starts telling me all about specific information about the tomb that I forgot or I didn't know. And it was just really interesting, because there you find yourself balancing both worlds. You're balancing your spiritual world, your higher self, where you're connecting to higher energies, and yet you're still here, like in the 3D, stamping your bags. And I had to tell Wendy, I wrote Wendy about that right away after it happened, because I was like, you're never going to guess what happened. Like, here I am, like doing a pretty decent job of balancing. And so it is possible. And I really liked what this said about, we're always competing. We're always competing with everybody in your business, in your day-to-day life. Somebody posts that they have like the brand new whatever. And it's like they trained us so well from early on that, we have to keep up with that competition, to keep up with the Joneses. And once you understand that you are not your belongings, you are not your possessions, that you are you, and you are a pillar of light and a pillar of energy. And you have had so many amazing experiences that, like, owning the latest car, I mean, that's not that big of a deal. You have so many wonderful things that point you in the north direction, that you don't need to keep up with the Joneses, because it's not in your vibration anymore. And so that's where I really want to talk about self-awareness. And once you become self-aware, what they're talking about here is they talked about the pyramid, the rhythm of the pyramid, and you don't see the pyramid. But what they're saying is that, these parts of you are already in place right here. These are your luminous pillars of light, right? Your different fractals, your different aspects, your higher selves. And they want you right here to complete the triangle, is what they're saying. So they want you to find your rhythm, to be yourself, to be the amazing light that you are, and complete the triangle. And then you'll have a luminous dot right here, and then you can complete the triangle. And that gets into all sorts of sacred geometry and all kinds of stuff. But that's what they're talking about, to find your rhythm. Your rhythm is not somebody else's rhythm, and that is perfectly okay. We need some change around here. And so if everybody would start listening to like Jiminy Cricket and your consciousness. What? See, if Wendy was here, she would know the word that I'm trying to come up with. Sometimes my English words like don't work very well. But if you would start listening to that, you could change your vibration, right? You could be on a different level. You could start working your way up to building that pyramid. You can also look at it this way. So like there's different rings, right? Because a pyramid is a triangle. So there's 3, 2, 1. So the sooner that you start just paying attention to self, listening to your consciousness, why can't I think? It's listening to your Jiminy Cricket. It's like, I know the word, it's in my head, but like my English cannot pronounce it. But ask me to do it in light language, and I could do it in light language for you guys. Um, but as you start climbing up this little ladder, right? And then you start realizing once you get to the top that all these all these extra things like the newest car or the biggest house, like that's not important. The only thing that's important in this entire world is love, right? It's love. I mean, if we treated everybody with love and respect, just think how the world would change. I love you too, Wendy. It's really weird, like not having you there. Like I just think you're gonna like chime in, and like help finish my sentences and things. um, and we had pizza yesterday, by the way. So like there you go, synchronicity, pizza. And so so yeah. So also this right here, do you see this? It looks kind of looks like concrete, right? You guys, you've all heard of white noise, right? I'm going to tell you guys a little trick here. So if you think about this as white noise, like the white noise that goes on in your head, because we all have that, right? When like the gurus and everybody, they talk about, oh, well, you can have a clear head and you can meditate, and then like you can hear teams and you can be a channel and all that stuff, and you can raise your vibration, but you need to meditate and clear your head. Well, for everyday people, that's not an easy thing to do, because think of all the stuff you guys have going, right? Like even me, I'm constantly going, but there's a trick to this. So when you have all this white noise rattling around in your head, and you get these thoughts where all of a sudden your head is saying, oh, you're not good enough, or, oh, you can't do that, or somebody so-and-so is better than you, or, all those little things that knock you down and make you sad and make you think that you're not worthy. Here's what you do. Okay, are you listening? You treat every one of those thoughts as a entity, okay? And what you say to them is you say, that is not my thought process. I banish you. I call Archangel Michael to come and take you away, and you are no longer allowed in my vibration or my bubble. All right, that's all you need to do. And the better that you get at that, the clearer your head will be. All of a sudden, you will have nothing. There will be nothing going on in your head, and you'll be able to think straight. And all of a sudden, you're going to be able to hear your team, and they're going to be like, hey, like, we've been trying to get a hold of you for a really long time, and we haven't been able to do that because you've had all this white noise. But now that you cleared out all your white noise, you can actually hear us. And granted, like some of that is downloads and activations in your brain. So I'm going to go over it one more time, and then I'm going to tell you about the activation portions of the brain that I was told about. So here's the white noise, right? And you have all these pieces of you, all these thought bubbles of you in this white noise, and you're trying to climb to the top of your pyramid so you can put a pillar of light right here. Because from here, it maybe looks like marbles, but you don't know. If you're looking at it from the top, it could be a column, right? It could be a column of light. So this is another thing that kind of plays tricks with our minds. So here's all your white noise, and it's going on in your head, and it tells you negative things. What you're going to do is you're going to treat it as an entity, and you are going to say, this is not my thought process. I banish you because I am worthy. I call Archangel Michael to come take you away. I never allow you back in my bubble or in my thought process, and I banish you forever. And then like I usually add things like, so might it be, so it is done, and so it forever will be. I always add those on the bottom at the ends. I don't know why, I've done it my whole life. And you will notice that this will get very, very clear, and all of a sudden you will be able to change your thought patterns and your thought vibrations, and it will help you stay at higher vibrations because you won't have those negative thoughts. And so do it like Heather, check it out, do it, let me know if it works. I did it with my husband. So, and like, he's really great. He listens to all my like crazy talk and stuff, but he like everybody has negative thought patterns, and it just was too much for him. And I told him about it, and he diligently did it. And it got better. And like, he even tells me constantly, he's like, that's just so amazing that you did that. There's nothing in my head. There's no negative thoughts in my head. And so I'm really proud of him for doing that. But no, I didn't come up with that. There's a guy named Jason Quitt who I heard that from. So that was his advice, and I took it. Worked amazing for me. So I'm going to pass it on to you. All right. I'm really thirsty. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is when you guys talk about, you know, hearing your guides or clairsentience, like just knowing, right? Clairaudience, healing, hearing your guides. There's all kinds of other ones like tasting and seeing and that. So parts of those pieces have to be awoke in the brain. And this front, okay, so I had this conversation with Takur, and I was talking about why my left side front of my head was, you know, like having muscle spasms. When you guys have muscle spasms, it was doing that in the left frontal lobe of my head. And I said, what does that mean? Is that like awakening something or helping with my clairaudience? And she said, yes, it is actually. So she said the frontal portions of your brain are the ones that deal with like mediumship, like clairvoyant, clairaudience, when you like hear and speak to spirits, ghosts, whatever you guys want to call them, or even galactics. That's where this front of the portion of the brain comes in. So the back portions of the brain, those are the parts of the brain that deal with spirituality, you know, godlike thoughts, godlike processes, you know, like meditation, things like that. So she said that my right side was completely open, and then my left side was almost open, but it was opening a little bit more. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Cause, you know, I still question, like when I have Michael's voice come in, or like Ramsey's voice, or who's ever talking to me at the moment. I still question. And so, you know, I'm not perfect. Like I'm growing too, but the fact that I could start from, you know, this little kid who felt like they were totally lost, that they didn't have, because I was adopted, that they didn't really have a home, that they didn't even feel like they belonged on Earth, that they felt like they got dropped off by a stork, that always lived in this like quote fantasy world that wasn't really like fantasy with like unicorns fantasy, but just a daydreamer who, you know, had all these bizarre thoughts and processes to come around to realize that that's all part of who I am. Those are part of my past experiences. That's part of like my soul friends on the other side. All this stuff is actually just a part of me, and I'm okay with who I am now. You know, like I realize that I have a home, and I have so many homes, and I am so loved. And it's not just like the love of parents or that connection. Because if you've listened to some of my older videos, I've had like issues with bloodline connections, with like mother-father bloodline connections. But now that I've really come full circle and I understand how it all works, and how my extended family, not just my, you know, earthly family, but my extended family is so wonderful and constantly in contact with me, that, you know, I've really taken major steps into my own, because now I trust myself. I believe in myself. I have learned, you know, I've worked really hard, but I've learned to quiet my brain and to point my compass north. And it's not always easy, right? Like you don't want to come on even like a hangout and be like, hey, like I talk with Michael Jackson regularly, and Ramses writes me letters like almost every night. Like that's not something that most people would feel comfortable doing. but I don't care. I mean, I care. I care, but at the same time, like, this is just part of me and I want to share it with you, because if this is happening to me, probably something similar is happening to you, and this might give you the jump to feel comfortable in self, or at least to start exploring self. So maybe you are having like having these other thoughts, or like, you know, like these letters, like somebody speaking and you could be writing letters, and maybe you just thought, well, I'm not going to do that. Like, why would I do that? Well, you should try it. Like, if it's happening, try it and experience it, and see where it takes you, you know? And so I have notes. Like, I have this whole journal that I randomly write down. I have sections for like videos that I wanted to make that still haven't happened, but you know, the now is now, like Michael always says. So when it happens, now will be the right time. But this is all about self-awareness and stuff that I wrote down. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask was to think about how you handle everything. Like, do you take everything at face value, or do you look deeper into things? And for myself, I'm always looking deeper into things, because I know that everything in this whole world is connected. So like, for example, when we have bugs in our house, instead of killing bugs, and I still do every once in a while, I'll admit it, like I still kill a bug, but most of the time I take them outside, because I know that, you know, they have families, like they're connected. We're all connected, right? We're one big circle. We're the snake eating its tail, if you guys watched the last live with Wendy. And so I don't take everything at face value. I'm always looking into, you know, what does this mean? You know, what were the signs? You know, why did this happen? And so if something negative happens, it's just like we talked about, it's just a moment, right? And then you realize, oh, maybe that wasn't so negative. Like, I just thought it was negative, but at the same time, look where it got me. It got me here. And so, you know, like, I always thought that being adopted was like a negative thing, but it's not. I needed that. I needed to be in that specific family for specific reasons, and I needed to grow up to become independent and to have my own thought processes, and everything is connected. And so what I'm going to ask of you guys, whenever you're listening to this, is to think of the things that happen to you, or the thoughts that come into your head. The good ones, the bad ones are going to vanish. But look at it a little bit deeper. Don't take it for face value. And this is one of the ways I've discovered a lot of my past experiences, right? And so I've decided, like, after having so many in-depth conversations with Ramses about how past lives work, I don't really want to call them past lives anymore, but I do like the term past experiences. And this can be a whole nother video as to why I think I'm going to call past lives past experiences. But now, you know, if I say past experience, it's like a past life. But, you know, paying attention to those signs, like if something happened to me, or if I just so happen to watch a documentary or a movie or whatever, you know, why was I interested in that in the first place? So if you see those stepping stones, just like this, if you see those stepping stones, it can take you to amazing places, but you just have to be open enough to want the adventure to go search for it. And by searching for it, you guys are going to find out that each and every one of you are super complicated, super amazing, and so beautiful. And you have so much to share with the world. And that's why you guys are here, right? So even if you don't feel like you're being a good human, like a lot of times I have to really work on balancing both worlds. But now I understand it. Like, now it's such a wonderful, beautiful thing to be able to be here in a human body. And before, I just absolutely hated it. I absolutely hated it. I always felt like I was missing home. I just felt like the body is just so awkward. Like, the English words are just, they don't come out, you know, with what I want to express. But now that I understand it and I've accepted it, I'm really happy to be here. Like, I mean, I think together, you know, we can all change the world, and it's going to take little stepping stones to do that. But who's all here? Oh, we have 4 viewers. Wendy, are you still eating your pizza? Heather, are you still here? So another thing about your awareness creates feelings, right? Those are the feelings that create your reality. So make it a good one. All right, make it a good one. Good, I'm glad. I'm glad. And then another thing you guys have to realize is that everything vibrates at its own frequency. Okay. And we talk about this a lot, you know, Wendy and I talk about this a lot, but it's so important. If you don't understand the ideology of vibration, and how things vibrate and what that means as far as frequency, the best way for me to describe it is that archaeologically speaking, like I talk about this all the time, we haven't found things that we've searched for a million times and now all of a sudden we find them. It's because things can exist in a different vibration. So the higher vibration you get, the different things you're going to find, because that's what existed on that vibration. And so the higher vibration you vibrate at, the more that you're going to experience, not just on a 3D level. I was told, so when I asked about like, I didn't say, how is this possible that, you know, I have these amazing souls speaking to me, but Takur must have read my mind, and she said something like, you know, there's reasons that these beings have stepped forward at this time to speak with you. You know, it's all about work. We're all working here. And the fact that you can vibrate on their level, on their dimension, means that you can understand them when they speak to you. And so that's one of the reasons that I get to work with them. I mean, there's other reasons too, and we can get into that later. But so the higher you vibrate, you know, the more beings, the different types of beings that vibrate on your level that you can interact with. And so that's fun to look forward to, right? I mean, let me tell you, like, if a day goes by and I don't like feel, you know, Michael's vibration, or like Ramsey's vibration, or like my team's vibration, like, it's kind of like, it's a sad day, you know, but they're always around. So it's just one of those wonderful things about being in a high vibration. You have other forms of family around you at all times that you can talk to. So what else? Let's see. It is easier to deny more. Oh, yeah, that's right. So this is one of the things that I'm working on with my twin. Where the question is it easier to deny that more exists? Because if you recognize that more exists, does it make your world harder, or does it make your world easier? That's a personal question for you guys. I had to explain this question to one of my friends, one of my historical friends, where they asked me, there was a woman who posted on her blog that she is going to go into mediumship and she leaves it in God's hands. And so my friend asked me, she's like, how does that work? How can someone be a medium and still believe in God? And so I had to explain to her that it's not just organized religions that believe in God. You know, there's a lot of other belief systems that believe in God too. It's just their God is the same God, just they put different restrictions on him or her, or, you know, the prime creator, whatever is the term God for you. And it was like, when she figured it out, it was like a light bulb went off, and she's like, oh, I never really thought about it that way. And so, you know, for us, like Heather, we're always hanging out in these hangouts. Like, we think about this all the time. Like, God is God. It doesn't matter if you're one religion or another religion or whatever you believe in, like, God is God. But for other people who grew up in organized religion, you know, they were always taught that God is like a specific to like their religion, that if somebody else believes in a God in a different religion, it's not the same God. So to just step back a moment and realize how far you've come, you know, that you can recognize these things, and that there's other people that are just stepping on this journey. And so remind yourself all the time about how far you've come. I do it a lot. I do it a lot. In fact, then like I'll celebrate and I'll like get myself a kombucha or like a chocolate bar or something. And I'll just be like, you know what? Like, you had a really tough week, but you know, in the beginning of this week, this is what you thought. And now you're enlightened a bit more and you're vibrating here. And this is what you think. And you've really made progress. So it's how divination is. I know. So Heather says it's how divination is demonized by the church. I know. And that's like, it's such a tricky, sticky topic. And it's something I'm really passionate about, because this has to do with my other past experiences too. But so for those of you that don't know, like I grew up in an organized religion. I grew up Lutheran and Missouri Synod Lutheran. And so like I even went to parochial school. And I loved going to parochial school. I didn't enjoy like Wednesday church very much, but I did enjoy like going to Sunday church or like Sunday school and listening to the stories, because I absolutely love the stories, even though even when I was little, my brain would say, I don't think it quite means what they think it means, or I think they kind of got it wrong, but I'm not really sure why. And then like for Easter, I would always get like Easter and the resurrection stories in church. I'd always get really emotional, and like I was like, but I don't understand why, but like I don't really think this is like exactly how things went down. And come to find out that I actually knew Jesus in that time, Yeshua in that time, and we were still all working towards an end outcome. You know, just like we have our missions, we had missions at that time. So that's one of those things where like, how self-aware are you? If I wouldn't have even thought like, oh, I'm a little emotional about this, or you know, I don't think they got that story quite right, I would have never like pushed myself to find out why I feel the way I felt about Sunday church, you know. And so I also spent a lot of time with the Essenes. And so it's just something like, I love the whole idea of the teachings of Yeshua, but it's frustrating that they've gotten so changed around and segregated into like specific organized religions. And you know, but at the same time, so here's the glass half full. At the same time, people are waking up and they're realizing and they're having memories of like, wait a minute, this is not quite how things kind of went. Like, I get it now. You know, it's all about love, and it's about loving each other. And you know, so yeah, I agree. It's the conditioning. It's yeah, I don't want to, I'll like talk for hours and hours on that, Heather. But that's one of the reasons that I can say we, because I know a lot about the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is one of the reasons that we felt it was really important to write down some of these stories and hide them in what is called the Dead Sea Scrolls. And so, you know, that's a thing too. Like, I don't know, I always have like history, archaeology stuff come into my feed and stuff. But like when they first found those few fragments of papyrus that said something like Jesus spoke to his wife or something. It was like calling like Mary Jesus's wife. It was very interesting how fast, like it only really went out to scientific peoples. A little bit got said about it, and then it was gone. There was nothing more said about it. And that's kind of how a lot of these archaeological finds go. And so I usually have them like get into my inbox at least, or show up somewhere before they before they take him down. So I actually get to see kind of, you know, what everybody has found now. Okay, so Heather says that I stayed away from anything metaphysical or anything considered taboo. I didn't believe either, but I didn't want to risk being wrong and spending eternity in fiery hell. I was raised in Southern Baptist, girl. Yeah, no, I totally hear you. I totally hear you. Same thing for me. Like, it was in the beginning, and I can sympathize with those people that are, oh, my nose is running. I can sympathize with those people that are there at this moment where they're now's now. And they are trying to rationalize how they were taught the specifics, and then about how, you know, they're feeling inside. And this kind of goes with the whole cards that we picked out about flowing downstream instead of trying to float upstream, because it's a lot harder. But when you're ingrained in something for so long, I mean, I actually started preschool at St. Mark's. So I started off preschool all the way through 8th grade, you know, growing up with specific things like pounded into my head about you know, like witchcraft. But then you bring things up about like specific Bible stories where you'll say, and I did this and then I stopped because you didn't get anywhere. So I would say things, well, where like, okay, so and so in the Bible actually went to a like soothsayer or like a witch lady to ask if he was going to win the battle. So if he can do that and that's in the Bible, like, so how is that wrong? You know, but they always have like some clever way to get around it. And so it was really hard in the beginning. And I think it helped me just getting out of my hometown and breaking out on my own. And then also finding my now husband, who is just super supportive, and who actually has a lot of the same thought processes as I do, that we can like talk about this. We talk about religion and the ideologies of religion all the time, you know. And so part of it is just getting out of that sector, getting out of that area where you can just start fresh and you're not going to have anyone come down on you. So my brother and his now wife were living together before they got married. And so our pastor would not marry them. So, I mean, it's just constant. Like, there's still stuff going on. But I understand it's hard to get away from that. But there comes a point where you realize that you may, like Heather said, that, you know, you don't do these things because you don't want to spend an eternity in fiery hell. But then there's a point where you think to yourself, like, this is just so hard swimming upstream against the currents. Like, maybe I just need to take a chance, and maybe I just need to delve into it a little bit more and just see where it takes me. And hopefully that takes you from one step to the next step to the next step, because everybody's on their own journey, and it's, you know, your own pace. There's no like race to the finish line. Like, all of us starseeds and like galactic humans, we all want to go home, right? So I get it. Like, there is kind of a race to the finish line, but in reality, if we would like cut out early and go home, we'd probably be shipped right back in, because we have these missions we have to finish. So we really need to think quality over quality, quality over quantity. Wait, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So yeah, so we really want to work hard and make it worth it, you know, make our missions really worth it. So when we get home, we can relax and we don't have to come back, right? Because we did a good job. We put a lot of thought into it and did the best that we could do. And you know, I get it. Like, a lot of us galactic humans and starseeds, we reincarnated into these families, into these organized religious families. And so we had like a harder time growing up. I know a lot of us who can talk and talk and talk about the crap they had to deal with when they were younger, you know. But think about it, like like all that crap that you have to deal with in order to get to where you are now, that's only there because you know that you could do it. It's there to make you stronger. It's there for you to learn, you know, to question, to learn, to conquer, and to move on. And then you can help people when they're dealing with it. And that's the beauty of it. Then you become the teacher because you've already went through that darkness and found that beam of light, right? And Wendy, that's kind of what we were talking about, the darkness, carrying your torch into the darkness. And that's what this card right here is about, with the luminous triangle, where you guys are carrying your light into the dark. And that's really what, you know, the star seeds and the galactic humans, that's really what we're all about here. We are torches. We are luminous spheres or pillars of light. And we are going into the dark places. And we are transposing, well, it could be transposing, but we're transforming everything into light, which is raising the vibration. So yeah, I mean, there's so many things we could talk about with that. You know, and I have heard a lot of, you know, just my personal friends talk about things like that, where same situation, you know, organized religion, they kind of feel this, but they're really scared. And then they're like, well, how did you do it? Well, you know, I mean, it's just baby steps. It's baby steps. You have to go with your heart. Wherever your heart leads you, that's the correct place to go, you know? So, oh, this was another good one too. Okay, so the infinite self. So like when we talk about names, right? I was thinking about this last night. My team and I were having conversations about this. If someone would say, "Who are you?" This was their question to me. If somebody would say, "Who are you?" How would you respond? It's a good question to think about, right? I mean, most people would just say, well, you know, I'm Alicia and I run a historical apothecary and blah, 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 right? But once you get the whole conceptual idea of knowing thyself and listening to your heart and pointing that compass north, and you move forward, then you learn about yourself. And you know, you can say, well, the name Alicia is the label that I identify with to, you know, for who I am in this experience right now. But this is only my current experience. I am so much more, you know. I am a pillar of light. I am, you know, what did I say? They said that my answer was really good, but it took me a while to think about it. It was something like, I am many things. I am many things, but first and foremost, I am a pillar of light who's dedicated to God for coming to fulfill the missions and help Earth. something like that. And they're like, wow. They're like, yeah, that would be a good answer. So it's a good question to ask yourself, like, who are you? You know, and if all you can say is, well, I'm so and so, and this is my job, and this is my house, you might want to dig a little bit further into who you are, because you're going to be surprised with what you turn up. I know you will. All right. This is actually good. This is good. So I don't know, how many of you have done vision boards? Like, this is a good way to, if for those of you that struggle with the glass half empty versus the glass half full, and struggle with raising your vibrations. Heather, you're so funny. She said, I stopped believing my parents after I found out about Santa Claus. But the question is that your parents' belief that there is no Santa Claus? You know, I mean, I think I think really in the scope of things, and this is part of that vibrational frequency. If you believe it, you create it. So think about how many people have believe in Santa and believe in the Easter Bunny, right? I mean, they have to be real. They have to be real on some vibrational level. And I fully believe that. I fully believe that. Oh, Heather, you're doing a glitter board, a vision glitter board. That's awesome. More glitter. Totally. Yeah. If you're not familiar with what a vision board is something that you would make. You would start out with a big board. You would, and it could be just like a poster board. Okay. And what you do is you think ahead to the things that you want to accomplish, or maybe even the bills you want to pay off, or the money that you want coming in. So this is one way to raise your vibration and to change your thought process. Because a lot of this, even taking that static out, a lot of this is changing your thought patterns. And so with a vision board, let's just say by next year, let's give a date. So like by next September, I want to be able to have, I don't know, let's say $3,000, right? I want to be able to have a check for $3,000. So what you do with your vision board is you actually write yourself out a check from your checkbook and you paste it onto your vision board. Now, what's something else you might need? So Wendy says, so you can see what to put your trust in. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Exactly, Wendy. So yeah, so a vision board is something you can visualize. You can actually look at it to visualize and put your trust in it that it will happen. And once you do that, because you're looking at it every single day, that is going to be in your energy field. That is going to be your vibration. That is what you put out to the universe. And that is what will come back to you. And so you should try it. If you haven't made a vision board, even like, I don't know, a car, right? Or a bike, anything you could possibly, even something like, now those are material things, but let's just say you haven't seen your entire family for a really long time and you just want to have like a family reunion. Put those things down. A family reunion, cut out pictures of like your family, put them all together on that board. So every time you stare at that and you see the words family reunion, something like that. So it doesn't all have to be like materialistic stuff, but yeah, vision boards are exactly what Wendy said, where you put your trust in it. It goes out to the universe because it's in your vibration, and then it comes back to you. So you have to be very specific. Oh, Wendy, you used a vision board to open up your connections to your star families? That's cool. That's very cool. Okay, wait, I'm lost. I have to catch up on your guys' chat. So that's how I came out of my shell. And then Heather says, I'm currently doing a vision board in glitter. No, but they lied. So before, oh, I see. Okay, so then you're going back to the Santa thing. So you can see what to put your trust in. I was 6 at the time. Oh yeah, so yeah, that's yeah. My dad always does. My dad always does Santa every year, so I always look forward to that. Yeah, well, Wendy, I mean, maybe we could talk about some of this. We can set up a time to talk about some of this, because I'm very interested to hear how you set that board up, because how specific was it, I guess is my question. Did you just put like galactic peoples on there? Did you know exactly, did you have like pictures of the specific galactic family? Like, I'm curious how you set that up. I would actually love to see a photo of it, because I think that could be a tool that we could put out there, as far as like how you have videos. Okay, so Wendy has videos on the vision board, so you'll have to go to Wendy's, you'll have to go to Languages of Lights on YouTube to check that out. But yeah, that'd be really awesome, because I think that would be really useful for a lot of people. Because I mean, I know you get that question, and and I get that question a lot too, like, is, how do you start connecting with your galactic family? So I think So well, we can talk about this. We'll maybe wait till tomorrow to talk about this, because I have other things here too. See, I have a whole list of how you guys can step into who you are, to celebrate who you are, to get your compass pointing north, whatever that means to you. Your north may not be my north, and that is fine. That's crazy cool, you know? So here's how you do it. You're going to expand your possibilities, right? Glass is going to be half full from now on, not half empty. You're going to think positively, which, you know, that's hard to change too. It's not about saying things like, I think I might do this, or I think maybe he, you know, is going to do this. You have to be very affirming with your answers, saying, you know, this is going to happen. You know, I feel this, or this will happen, or this is coming to me. Things like that. You have to change your language, and that could be a whole nother video too. And you also need to search for more answers. So just like I was telling you about my experiences growing up in church, and that's probably why I was there. I mean, it was there to connect me with that past, because that past is not only just that one experience, but that's part of my soul family. That's part of my, like, all my missions, you know? And so it was there to awaken my memories that are already inside me. And sometimes we just need like a little nudge to wake up. Wendy, you're so funny. Wendy says, I can't wait to talk about this because my guides have been wanting me to discuss this. Okay, so the other thing is create vision boards. We talked about that. Wendy's going to talk about this, probably do some more videos on that. Learn about you, right? You want to learn about you. You want to learn who you are, because that is the basics of the Essenes thought process, right? You know thyself. Like, that's where that came from, you guys. That came from the Essenes. And you know, once you know yourself, and like people talk about not living in those past lives that you experience, or past yous that you experience, but there is stepping stones to learning about what you've all done, what you've accomplished, you know, who your soul family is. And so I think it's great. I think everybody should learn about their past experiences and use them as stepping stones. Use them to remember how amazingly awesome you are. You know, learn about you. Learn about you. Pay attention to those signs. Let's see, where are we? Open your mind, of course, like, because the glass is half full now, right? Not half empty. And then here's the other thing, and this goes back to like what Heather and I were talking about. You have to stop accepting the truth of what you're told. Just because you're told something doesn't mean it's your truth. Okay, organized religion is a great example. I was looking up something today because we had an email about, hang on. We had an email about like alcohol in products. And so I was looking up some information on alcohol, and the information that they put up there is completely wrong. It's completely false. And so anybody now who like types in, you know, a preservative of whatever, natural alcohol in products, they're going to get all this information that they think is legit and real just because it's out there on the web, and it's totally fake. And I was really upset. And I was telling Patrick this, and he's like, you just need to just breathe and just move on. That is not your reality. So let it be and just move on to something else. So don't take it at face value for what you're told. Do your own research. And this is huge in my field, in my historical field. You never take for granted if somebody says, oh, they sewed their outfits this way, or, oh, this was the fabric they used. You never take that for granted. You always have to have your own search. You always have to, you know, figure it out yourself. And that is going to push you guys leaps and bounds. You know, like if you're stuck in a rut, if you're still at those first paces of, I don't think I'm really human. I think I may be galactic in a human body, or I think I may be a star seed. And now, like, I have all these thoughts and these feelings, but I can't escape what has been ingrained in my head. This is where you start. You start by stepping out of that box and opening a book. I prefer books. Like, I'm not a big fan of the internet as far as research, but open a book, do some searching, and then when you read it, you'll know. Open up your heart. You will know if it resonates with you or not. If it resonates, that's your truth. Okay? So, so if it doesn't resonate with you, drop it. Just like that article today didn't resonate with me. Instead of getting upset, which I did, I got upset, but then I just had to step back, recenter myself, get back in my awesome vibration, and just let it go. And then here's the other one. And this one too, I could talk about hours on. You got it, Heather. You are so on it. Realize that you guys are being programmed. And I can't say that clearly enough, and I can't emphasize it enough. If you really want to start running down your path, turn the TV off, turn the news off, turn it off. I don't watch TV all that often. I don't watch the news. I watch history programs, which, let me tell you, history programs are often wrong, very, very wrong. But I still watch them anyway. But I was sitting there one day, we were watching news, like legit news, right? And we both looked at each other and we both realized how fake it was. It was that aha moment of, not only is this fake, but they have like actual commercials slid into this fake news. It was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. And so just don't even pay attention. Turn the TV off. Some of the things that we like if you're like, well, I really like to have TV on, or I like to have some noise, listen to music. Some of the things that we like to do is we like to turn on old TV programs, like the old radio programs. And they have so many amazing ones. Like on my channel, if you go into the playlists, I have a playlist for old time radio, and they actually have one of like, I don't know if it's like an old Ramses one or an old Nefertari one or something, but it's really funny. This is like back in the time, for you guys that don't know what old time radio is, where they didn't have television, and so they had these amazing dramas play out over radio, and they acted them all out in different voices, and it's really cool. It's really fun. And then other things is arts and crafts, redecorating your house, repainting your house, writing and journals. There's just so many things you can do. Getting games out. Like how many families sit down to have a game night anymore? Like how many, when friends come over from school, how many of you guys pull out board games? Like we used to pull out board games, and board games are cool, right? And there's so many cool games. Like even before I knew my past Egyptian experiences and such, I got this Senate game, and like I totally rock at it, and we get it out and we play it every once in a while. And it's like a really old ancient Egyptian game that I just absolutely love. Yay! I'm so proud of you that you haven't watched TV in 3 years. That's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. Oh yes, naps. We cannot forget naps. They are so important. So important. And what's going to happen when you guys realize that the different ways that you're being programmed, and you step outside that box, you're going to feel more connected. You're going to feel more grounded. Your head is going to be clear, especially when you guys do a little exercise I taught you. And it's going to be a whole new you. And all of a sudden you're going to see, all the flags and the coincidences and the synchronicities. And you're going to see the ways that the world is so alive around you. Like how many people just step outside and like listen to the birds these days? Like that just doesn't happen. It should, it should happen, but it doesn't. So what else? Being being programmed, that's another one of my triggers. It's a trigger of mine. And let me tell you, when my mom was talking about, because my parents don't know this side of me, and I'm okay with that. But when my parents were talking about how my little nieces and nephews are going to start school, and I said, oh, if I ever had kids, I would homeschool them. And my mom said, why would you do that? And I said, because the public and parochial school system is broken. And like, you should have seen the look that and I didn't say anything more because I thought, like, you just, this is not, I don't want to get into an argument about it. It's her viewpoint versus my viewpoint, and it's fine. But like, the look she gave me was just, it was one of those mom looks, and then, realizing nothing is as it seems. And even in like dealing with my twin, this is like one of those cryptic things that I would always write on the bottom of my letters, like, nothing is as it seems, or like, so, but keeping that in your head will open up new pathways for you guys to explore. What else? Oh yeah. Stop complaining, stop blaming, stop the negativity, return it with love. Just stop and think and breathe, and if it's not worth it, like, so many things are not even worth like arguing about, like, just step away. That will help your vibration as well. That will help you center yourself. That will help repoint your compass. And then, free yourself from drama, free yourself from fear. That was, families are pretty dramatic, right? All families have drama. And so that's one of those things I was able to step out of once I moved a few hours away, and it's been really beneficial for me. And now we have, like, my sister calling or my mom calling just because they need to talk things out, because they say, well, you're always the rational one. You're always the calm one. And Heather said, yes, the ohms, and the chanting and the, whatever you need to do to center yourself. Very good, Heather. Thank you. Good point. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much what I had written down as far as like super important things that we should go over. But I think this is just so valid at this moment, because even though if you're watching this and you're like, oh, well, I'm kind of over that beginning step of like stepping into myself and my compass pointing true north. We're always a work in progress. So like, our compass maybe isn't always pointing north. I know, like, sometimes I still have issues with that. I try, but most of the time it's pretty good, but I'm still a work in progress. But those of us who are just starting, I think these are really good points for you guys. And I think by at least implementing a few of these, you're going to see drastic changes. And especially now that, everybody's talking about the event. I'm not going to talk about the event because I have a different viewpoint of the event than most people do. But the idea that we have an influx of energies right now, there's so many things happening with the Earth and Galactic, and so many of us, our bodies are reconfiguring. The DNA is activating. Our vibrations are raising. And so with that, with learning to function in higher vibrations, in higher densities, in other realms, we need to have a body, or at this point, we need to have, our physical body has to be adapted to that. And that is exactly like a computer. So a lot of you guys are probably aware of like uploads, downloads, upgrades, all that stuff, but that's happening right now because we are at the point of a major shift for most of us into, like the next level. And the next level is totally different for everybody involved. But the point is that when your body is exhausted, or when you're craving nothing but blueberries, like when when I get an update, when I get a DNA update to my system, the only thing I will eat is blueberries and drink like blueberry juice. That's all I want. I want nothing else. And so because I pay attention to these things, I kind of know what types of updates I'm getting. Now, the head one, I kind of had it figured out that it was probably something to do with like the channeling or the clairvoyance opening, but I just wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure that like there was nothing physically wrong, but I'm generally in pretty good health. And so with these updates that you guys are getting, a lot of you are feeling super tired, or you're getting sick to your stomach, or you can't even function. You're like in a brain fog. Those are things that are going to happen when you start walking down this path and raising your vibration and walking up that pyramid. Well, that's funny. There you go, Wendy. Like Machu Picchu, South America, Peru, all those places that have the ancient step pyramids. It's like walking up a pyramid, right? And every step that you take, also because you're getting higher elevation, it's a little harder to breathe. It's a little harder to breathe. Your body aches a little bit more. And it's actually kind of very much like getting your updates and your Kundalini starting. And you want to talk about that too. Oh, you make me laugh so hard. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. But it's to be expected, right? If everything was super easy for us as we transition through all these phases and we didn't actually have to work, we wouldn't be learning anything. And so if you need to rest, rest. If you need to eat blueberries, eat blueberries. Sometimes you don't want to eat at all. Sometimes all you want is chocolate cake. Like I've been there. I do it. Like in fact, I have one more ginormous chocolate cupcake, not cupcake. What do you call those? Muffins left. And so like it happens, right? And it's nothing to be concerned about. Like a lot of you guys actually have all these, we talked about this, Wendy, all these wonderful little packages just waiting to be unwrapped and opened. And the only way they're going to get activated is if you put in some time to activate them. So if you just stay stagnant and you just keep your compass pointing south, east, whatever, they're going to stay boxed up because they're not ready to come out. They're going to come out when they're ready and when you're ready for them. And so, the more steps you take on your pyramid, the closer you are to like unboxing things like your light language, like your galactic language. And so, for those of you who are wondering about that, I know we've talked about this before. I'm going to just say it one more time. These are the Have a good night, Heather. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so happy and blessed that you hung out with us. Chocolate, yes. Remember, because we are going to do, I think, Wendy, we're still going to schedule our tea time, right? And we're gonna schedule tea time, and we're gonna have chocolate cake and carrot cake, right? I'm gonna find Michael Jackson's mother's recipe for chocolate cake because I know it's here somewhere. Right, no forcing. Yeah, you just let it be, but you need to listen to yourself. So, exactly, exactly. What was I saying? I was saying something. No, I totally forgot what it was, but that's okay. Oh no, I know what I was gonna say. So, the light language. So for those of you who are, have a good night, Heather. Love you, girl. So for those of you who are thinking that you are getting light language activations, or you're almost ready to start speaking, and you're almost ready to start speaking, I'm going to just explain what happens. So the first thing that's going to happen is normally you get activated. Wendy does it. I do it. You also, a lot of you, it's already in there. It just needs to come out. And so you're going to start hearing it in your head first, right? And if you're looking it up, people are speaking it. So that's really great because then it kind of gets reiterated. But you're going to start hearing it in your head. And then After you start hearing it in your head, you're going to start speaking it. Now, when I bring this back around to my angelic language, that was the first time I actually got ill with the language coming out. But you have to remember there's all kinds of other energies coming in as well right now. And so all of a sudden you'll just start talking, and it may not, like, you may think, oh, well, that's not quite what I heard, but it gets better. So keep going. Don't get frustrated. If you think it sounds weird, don't worry about it. Like, if you listen to Wendy and I, when we get together with our light languages, you never know what you're going to get. And so keep going with it. Keep going with it. And if you guys want, light language activations, talk to Wendy. Wendy does light language activations. Talk to me. I will do one for you. We do them. We do them all the time, actually, when we do live videos. So you always want to check in. Dark chocolate. Now you're making me really hungry for dark chocolate. Dark chocolate. Yum. Yummy. And you also made me lose my train of thought. So I wanted to give you guys an activation tonight, to help you guys navigate these incoming energies, because I know that a lot of you guys have been struggling, and regardless if you believe in the event or you don't believe in the event, it doesn't matter to me. It's whatever is in your own universe, in your own energy field, in your own you, right? That's what's important. And so I want to give you guys a little activation to help open up yourself, to help you guys start navigating that compass, to get you guys to be comfortable in your change, right? Because we're all changing all the time. And you're all changing for the better. Even if it doesn't seem like it sometimes, even like if you're in bed thinking, oh, these ascension systems totally suck, like, you're changing for the better. Just keep the faith. And also, so you guys stop struggling and just float downstream with all of this. This is the new earth. This is the new reality of you, right? And so working to embrace it is working on you. And that's really all that is needed. You can't really help others until you help yourself, until you know yourself, until you're comfortable in self. And so this is a great way to start. And so I'm going to give you a little activation. So here we go. I got my kitty pajamas on, and I'm chilling out this Friday night. Okay, so Wahana shukuliti and yaboya duahana di shikiata nana wapisini di duku umo molitiana boasiatiana hikiatoahwa. Misiatu kumushu utu puya no buai anana washukuni tiana hana setiata bokolushu ki in monitia wahiati shihi. Masikua bahona iahiata tumama wahiata tiana hana bukukuli shit wahana di wahi wanata masiaku huniti to kwamama muati duadli ototiana yata to gomacheta to doya papa boshu to yana tayata wapapayanata kiata tatana to yata koleata yana to popiatana visiata to miata kuleata yana the botiana tiata no tugiana shita to boli to ya moya nia kwasiate abo hanatata kupishiana tiapo ulotiana kushiata mumiata to waka anatiata pulotiata bukunutu mu shua hanati kiashatata siana to wamia du bushuniatia to wahana. Ibiakana hashu wahaditi dupo yatanata, Butiata Totiana Tatayata, Butiata Kota Tuku Lushutiana Hantikha, Hia Ho Nahatias, Hopia Shuku Unoto, Buniatia Kawa Homoshu, the Ayataha, Nasiatia Ho, Nasiatia nani, nusutia hanako shatiata po, polaha anasiata anata, wapasi, nusukutu shama, ta iana hole hu ushumutu, buku, masiati hiana to gulietata, motiana ha, pa, huaka, hia, kona shitu ulutianan matia tukupa, papiata tu, tanashi, natia kuhanata, masia tu bua, wa, hiana tia kula anasiti tia boshukoba, masia tanana, wa. Namaste. Okay. So, if you guys don't feel anything from that, it's okay. It's your little package. It will be unwrapped when the time comes. But just remember everything that we talked about. Hopefully, you know, it's there now. You heard it. So when rough patches come up, you know, think about how you're going to navigate it. Think about how you're going to expand yourself. So I think that's probably it for me tonight. And I want to wish you guys love and joy and happiness and everything that comes with it. Take care, you guys. Until next time. Namaste.